Hello again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another KnitCrate unboxing video. And I've been looking forward to this one because I believe it is going to be something quite different than what we are used to. Yes, indeed. So I didn't open it yet because I wanted to save my surprise for you guys. So let's take a look-see here. Oh, I'm dropping it already. So I'm just going to cut this open. And again, it's in a bag, it's not in a box, but it's okay. I understand. They're going through what they're going through, so I understand that. So let's see what we got here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's 2 skeins. That's cool. And let me see. Ooh, okay, here we go. What do we have here? All right, we got a whole bunch of stuffs. Okay, first things first, we have the yarn. Ooh, isn't that pretty? It's nice, it's clean. It's a straightforward yarn. Okay, it's not too fluffy and crazy and whatnot. And wait, we got to do the cheek test. I like it's very soft. It's very soft, and yes, it's white, but there's a reason for that because we have ourselves Kool-Aid. Apparently, we're going to be dyeing this wool. I'm assuming it's wool because you really can't dye acrylic fibers. So let's take a look. See, May 2020, blank canvas. Ah, yes. Okay, this month we're guiding you on an exciting dye your own adventure. Did any of you ever read books that were choose your own adventure books? I used to love those when I was younger. Love those. Your crate includes some bare yarn along with enough Kool-Aid to dye it. Rebecca Brown of KnitCrate Creations shot a new tutorial video for us to show you how to turn your bare yarn and Kool-Aid into a gorgeous new skein. If you get bitten by the yarn dyeing bug, as we suspect you will, you can stock up on more bare yarn from dyesupplier.com at 15% off with coupon code until June 10th. Instead of the usual issue of inspirations with knitting and crochet patterns, we are re-releasing several past patterns that will work perfectly with this month's yarn bases. Some of our favorite pattern designers also have generously offered coupon codes for free or discounted patterns from their shops. So you can truly end up with a one-of-a-kind creation this month. Okay. You'll find Rebecca's video along with our selection of patterns and coupon codes at this link. All right, so the yarn info, the important stuff. That's the important stuff. Apparently it is 75% merino and 25% nylon. It's a fingering weight. It is 415 yards. And so it's 75% merino, 25% nylon. So it's a 75-25 merino nylon fingering yarn. And so let's see the other bit of info we have on here. This month we're so honored to be partnering with Rebecca Brown of KnitCrate Creations. Rebecca is a passionate knitter and yarn dyer. While working on her PhD in biochemistry and molecular pharmacology, Rebecca started KnitCrate, which is her YouTube channel, in 2008 as a lab notebook to chronicle her knitting and early yarn dyeing adventures. In 2010, she created the KnitCrate tutorial YouTube channel and started filming yarn dyeing experiments with food coloring and Kool-Aid. Over time, the channel has evolved, and you can join Rebecca on her journey into different ways to apply color to yarn, acid dyes, natural dyes, and even candy. Rebecca has adopted Ms. Frizzle's motto, take chances, make mistakes, get messy. I like Miss Frizzle. I believe that was the Magic School Bus series of books, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Miss Frizzle, I'm pretty sure, is from the Magic School Bus. Let me know in the comments section. Her enthusiasm and love for dyeing yarn will make you want to give it a try yourself. Watch Rebecca's amazing yarn dyeing tutorials here at www.youtube.com/chemknitstutorials. Okay, so that being said, we have ourselves some wool, some merino. I love merino. I mean, I am not a fiber or a yarn snob. Nope. I know what I like, but I am not a yarn snob. No, never let that be said. I am not a yarn snob. I know what I like, but I do not discriminate. No, I'm an equal opportunity yarn user. I do love merino though, as many of you know. I love merino, but I do use acrylic plenty. But you really can't dye acrylic. I mean, I've seen people trying to do tutorials on using acrylic paint to dye acrylic yarn with mixed results. Often it looks a little bit crunchy, but of course you can dye other natural fibers as well. Cotton, hemp, I imagine, flax, for linen. I mean, you can dye other natural fibers. I mean, the most common, of course, is wool, whether it's merino or another kind of wool. But this is cool. This is very cool. So we have two different kinds of Kool-Aid. We have grape and we have orange. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We have ourselves a situation here. What are they trying to do to me? It says caffeine free. I don't know if you can see it. It says caffeine free. I'm upset. I'm very upset. All right, now, I have dyed yarn with Kool-Aid before. I have. I've dyed yarn, I have dyed wool using Kool-Aid before, and I also have dyed using food coloring. Now, my understanding, okay, is that since there is citric acid already in here, you don't need to add vinegar. If you're using just food coloring, you need an acid. That helps the wool to take on the color and to hold the color. And then, of course, you also need to heat the yarn in order for it to stay. And then you need to rinse out the yarn so that that excess dye does not get all over the place and all funky wonky. So that being said, we are going to have a little dyeing adventure today. Yes, we are. And so we're going to dye our yarn. I'm not entirely sure how I want to go about doing it just yet. I need to think on it just a little bit. I might check out the video and see what ChemKnits has to say for some possible inspiration. I don't know yet. But we will figure it out. But yes, we are going to go on a yarn dyeing adventure together. Something I haven't done yet on this channel. But I thought this is the perfect opportunity because the yarn's already made. And also here, let me see, I missed this. Here we have a little extra thing from KnitCrate. We have some little zip ties. And what is this? Oh, it's little Post-it notes. That's cute. It's a little book of little Post-it notes. Totally missed that. So I'm assuming that these are for tying up our yarn. That would be my offhand guess. Although you can use little scraps of yarn, that's fine. But this is cute. A little smiley. It's cute. All right, so listen. I'm going to figure out what I want to do as far as how I want to go about dyeing the yarn, and then we shall get to it. All righty. Hello again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. All right, so I've been soaking my yarn here in a nice tub of water. Now, you don't have to add vinegar when you're using Kool-Aid because the Kool-Aid already has acid in it. It has citric acid. So technically speaking, you don't need to add the vinegar, but I did for good measure because I might be also adding some food coloring as well to give the color perhaps a bit more of a pop. So I've been letting this soak for, I don't know, maybe about a half an hour, about an hour, roughly speaking. And so we are going to do some dyeing. Yes. Now, the colors that they sent me are, of course, as you can see here, orange and purple. Well, they don't quite go together in the sense that I would like. I mean, if they sent me purple and blue or purple and red, well, that would make more sense to me. Or with the orange, if they sent me orange and red or orange and yellow, that would make more sense. But no, they sent me secondary colors. So we are going to work with what we have here. And so I think I'm going to do a simple dye bath. And we're going to use the microwave today because that is the easiest and the least messy of the processes. So I got myself a Pyrex dish, which we're going to be able to microwave, and I'm going to prepare my first dye bath with the purple, and then maybe add some more red or some more blue to give it a bit more pop. So let's go with that, and we'll go from there. All right, so I added about 3 cups of water to my Kool-Aid, and as you can see, it is pretty dark, although I'm not sure if the amount of water is going to dilute the Kool-Aid dye to a significant degree. I mean, right now it looks very eggplant in color. I mean, I have an eggplant right here, so as you can see, it is pretty dark, but that is in its concentrated form. You don't know if it's actually going to be very eggplanty. So what I was thinking of doing is adding some red to really give it some pop, if possible. See, this is why I should have been wearing gloves. We do what we can though, right? For science. So I'm going to add some red food coloring, just a whole bunch of drops here. I'm not going to be stingy. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to make this a really beautiful, in theory, purple-red mix. Maybe like grape juice. Like a Concord. All right, so that being said, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add some vinegar to this because I used a lot of food coloring, and going to go from there. All right, so I added some vinegar, and I'm thinking that the concentration of our dye bath is going to be sufficient. I'm right now at about 4 cups, which should be enough for one of my skeins. So I'm going to take it out of my soaking bath. I'm going to wring it out a little bit, and then going to submerge. So let me grab one of these skeins here, and just going to give it a nice wring out. Bear with me, folks. Just get some of the extra water out. Now the reason why I did the pre-soak is so that the dye will absorb that much easier, as opposed to trying to dye the fiber when it's dry. Got that capillary action going on. All right. So here we go. Now, if you want your wool to be very evenly dyed, you would put it in all at the same time as quickly as possible so that the dye goes into all of the fiber at once. I think I'm going to slowly dip my wool in so that it's more of an ombre. We'll see what happens. I haven't really dyed yarn so much. I've dyed wool before, but not so much yarn already spun. So let's slowly Oh my, it's just taking it right in. So I'm going to be slowly dipping my yarn in here. It's like one of those videos, most satisfying videos kind of thing. Also, you know what? I think it would be advisable for me to get some gloves. So I am going to get myself some gloves, and I will be right back. All right, so without even touching it with my gloves, look at how gorgeous that is, how it's slowly seeping into the rest of the yarn. So actually, I'm tempted to leave it as it is, to not touch it, quite frankly. I'm very tempted, although I think I will submerge it, but oh, it's so tempting to just leave it as is in sort of an ombre kind of way. Oh, decisions, right? You know, actually, I think I'm going to leave it. Yeah, because that way there would be, you know, an interesting contrast going on, and it could create potentially a really cool variegated yarn. So actually, no, I'm not going to submerge it all the way. I'm going to just leave it as is, and I'm going to pop it in the microwave for, I would say about 2 minutes, and we will see the results. Alrighty. All right, my dears, so I put it through the 2 minutes, and then I wasn't quite convinced, so I put it through for another 2 more minutes. And actually, yeah, it did not penetrate a good part of the yarn up on top. So we should have some sort of ombre effect. I'm very excited about this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wring this out, and I'm going to soak it and rinse it with a little bit of dish soap as well, and we will see the final results. All right, so bear with me, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna wring this out, and then rinse it in there, and hopefully our color will be with us. Alrighty. All right, so after taking my yarn out of the dye bath, that is all that was left of the actual color. And that's a good sign, because that means that the majority of the color went into the yarn, which is exactly what we wanted. And it ended up here. Now, is this exactly the way that I had intended? No, but it is interesting. You know, I mean, it isn't a perfect ombre by any stretch of the imagination, but it does have some visual interest, sort of like the yarn was tie-dyed, and I kind of like it. And yeah, it does have a reddish, purplish, you know, sort of a sun-bleached mulberry kind of thing going on. I rather like it. Now, let's go into the orange and see what we can do with that. Now, I'm thinking, again, go with the red along with the orange. Not quite so much red, because red can overpower the orange, but a bit more of the orange than the red. And then see if I can do something similar to this so that I can have this skein and my other skein work together on a project. So let's get our dye bath ready. Alrighty, so got the orange ready, and the smell, I know you can't smell it through the screen, but the smell is so good. And then, of course, I had to ruin it by adding vinegar. You know, it's a white vinegar that I added because, yes, I'm going to add some red and hopefully not mess up my fingers further than I already did. There we go. So I'm not going to add a ton, but I do want to add some. You know, not as much as last time. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, sort of like a ruby red grapefruit almost. I'm thinking maybe just a touch more, because you guys know me by now. I do not like to leave well enough alone. That's sort of my MO. Oh, that is gorgeous. Love, love, love. All right, so I think we are going to do perhaps something similar where we're not going to like submerge the entire hank and leave the top unscathed. I think I might do the same technique so that this skein and the other skein will go together. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. Will we achieve that? I don't know. Because right now it looks like I have more liquid in here than the last one. So, you know what, that being said, let's just dye the whole thing, but just like rest that gingerly on top. Okay, so now I'm going to microwave this for another 4 minutes total, and we'll see what we get. All right. All right, so I finished cooking my yarn for a total of 4 minutes, and there's only a little bit that's unscathed. So we're going to see what we have to work with in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my yarn. I'm going to wring it out a little bit and then soak it in some soapy water. So you know what? Let's bring this over to the sink here and get a better view and pull it on out. Oh, this is hot stuff. Let me get some tongs. In the drawer. Ah, here we go. Sorry, folks. All right. Do. There we go. And yes, this is very, very hot. Straight out of the microwave. Ooh. And as you can see, the water is practically clear, which is a very, very good sign. So let me just immediately dip this into my other water here. Actually, but I want to wring this out. Oh, whatever. Okay, into the sort of lukewarm bath that I have over there. Now let's take a closer look, shall we? Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit milky, but there isn't any color in that water whatsoever, which is actually exactly what we want. We want the color to be in our yarn. Now, look at this. How gorgeous. Now, granted, we only have a little bit that has not been dyed at all, but we do have some lighter spots and we have some darker spots. It's sort of like a creamsicle on crack. I love it. So I'm going to add a little bit of dish soap and I'm going to give this a little sudsy and rinse it out and lay it out and see the final verdict. All right, so bear with me. All right, my dears, so it's all rinsed and I, added a little bit of dish soap and I, washed it all out. And this is the result. So you've got some bits of white, over there and there. And then you have this lovely creamsicle color. Absolutely loving the results. And I believe that this skein will complement the other skein very, very nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these two skeins dry overnight, and I think I'm going to re-hank them because when, as they arrived, the little tie strings, there aren't enough tie strings, and it has me a little bit nervous. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to re-hank these skeins once they're dry, and then I will show you the results. Alrighty, I can't wait to see. See you in a bit. Hello again, my little yarnivores. All right, so it's the next day, and my yarn is dry, and I decided to re-hank it so that I wouldn't have to worry quite so much about the ties that they did do for that hank. And I'm excited. I think it looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. That's my opinion. Now this, of course, was the first one that I did, and it looks sort of brown on camera, but actually in different lighting, it's more of like a mulberry denim, if you will. I really like how this came out. And it was not even totally intentional as far as, how much white was going to be in there, but I like the mix. Yes, I do. And because I used essentially the same technique of dyeing the yarn, this is my creamsicle on crack, if you will. It is bright. Whoa, it is bright. Very, very bright. But it has the same tonal quality as the first one. Now, these two colors don't exactly go together. I would say they sort of compete for one another. But because the colorways, as far as how they are, put together, if you will, I'm thinking I might use both of these together in a project because there's the right balance of white and color. And of course, it is the same yarn. So I think I might do some sort of striping project with these. I don't know. Maybe do a knitted project where I do the piece in the garter stitch where it's 2 rows one color, 2 rows another color, so on and so on and so forth, just bringing the bits of yarn up the side of the project, sort of like I did with the Noro scarf that I did eons ago. So I'm thinking I might do something like that. But overall, I am pretty darn pleased with the job that I did as far as dyeing, considering I don't do a lot of dyeing. I imagine that with practice I would get better, but yeah, with a little bit of food coloring, a little bit of Kool-Aid, you too can dye some wool. Now again, keep in mind, it does need to be a natural fiber. Otherwise, the dye will not soak in. It'll soak in, but it won't stay. It needs to stay put. But I am very, very happy. So that is my KnitCrate unboxing slash tutorial slash technique. I don't know what you want to call it, but I had a lot of fun, and I hope you liked it. And if you did, of course, please give a little thumbs up button down below, and do hit subscribe because I try to post often, whether it's knitting or crocheting, audiobook narration, my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do video game playthrough and commentary. It's a fun little way to while away the hours. And yeah, so until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and stay safe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.